Sati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavani Paschatya Deshatharine Om Jnana Timirandasya Giranjana Sapakaya Chakshuru Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Namo Mahabodhaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Krishna Namo Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Your dear Lordships, Shri Radhamadava, Ashtasaki, Radhamadava Mayapur Chandra, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, the governing body commission of ISKCON is assembled here, their representatives, for giving you a report for yourself and all your parishat, all your assembled devotees, regarding the GBC meeting and the plans for the future. This is for your pleasure because you are all merciful, and everything that we are doing here in Srimad Mayapur in the GBC is for pleasure of Guru, Gauranga, Guru and Krishna, for your divine pleasure. We are always dependent upon your mercy and your kind glance. We pray that all our efforts to please you will be successful in pleasing you and in fulfilling the mission of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I'm going to ask Rosh Prabhu to coordinate the report to your Divine Graces.
Hare Krishna. So as Jayapataka Maharaj has said, we're here to give a report of our service over the last 10-11 days. As you can see, there are only about 6 or 7 GBC members here. So from that you can understand that their work over the last 11 days was very, very tiring, and they're all taking rest right now. But we managed to survive. This year, our meetings were a little bit different. We had some a different structure to the meetings. 3 days in particular were dedicated just to discussing the future of ISKCON, the future of the Hare Krishna movement, as opposed to dealing with specific issues. And then also we had one day which some people refer to as a fun day, and it was a fun day, but it was our spiritual retreat day, and the idea was that sometimes if you're sitting in a room for 8 hours a day or whatever it is, for 10 days in a row, it can get a little imbalanced. It's like just sitting around a table discussing all the time. So we decided this time, right in the middle, we would take a day off and we would go somewhere. As it happens, we went to the Jagannath Mandir, and we had a day where we weren't doing meeting business at all. We were just engaged in Krishna Katha, etc. And it was very, very wonderful. Some of the devotees here did things that you would never know that they, or you would never imagine that they could do. We have one of our great writers and philosophers that played the part of Jagai, and he was an extremely good drunk, I can assure you. I think he must have snuck a bottle of something with him on the spiritual retreat day. Then we have one of our greatest kirtaniers, you may know him, B.B. Govindamaraj, and he was an absolutely superb Dravida gorilla. He was amazing. He was so real. So that day was very interesting, and we'll speak a little bit more about that later on. But right now I'd like to introduce some of the different GBCs to speak on specific aspects of the meeting. And the first GBC I'd like to invite is Ravindra Swarup Prabhu. And he will speak on our strategic planning that we were involved in during the GBC meetings. So a big round for Ravindra Swarup Prabhu. Ravindra Swarup Prabhu, Jai.
Excuse me. We were brothers. We was Mada. Every time I see him, I start. So I want to tell you a little bit about this idea, maybe thinking you're familiar with it by now, of strategic planning. It's a systematic way that large organizations, businesses, universities, hospitals, religions, religious organizations use to look at and plan their long-term future. Instead of just being daily dealing with the emergencies that come up, we think, where are we going to be in 20 years, 30 years, even 100 years ahead? We start planning. Strategic planning means that we will end up with some fixed, some established ideas of where we want to be at specific times, say 5 or 10 years from now, and then we will have steps taken to get us there so that we know what to do tomorrow toward this plan. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll hold up for a moment. So this is a system that's been widely used everywhere. So we're now incorporating it into ISKCON. The United States, we've already begun strategic planning. Different countries, yatras in the world are doing it, so now we are trying to do it for all of ISKCON. We really began, we had a special meeting of the GBC last, I think it was in November, October in Italy, where we began this process. And one thing we did, we decided right now there's certain very special, important areas of concern that we need to start to think about right now. And if I can remember them all, Coach will help me. One was establishing Srila Prabhupada's position. See, the fact of the matter is, we were thinking, if we start thinking about the future, that almost every member of the GBC is over 50. And those, except for you, he's getting there. 49. 49, okay, approaching that crucial time. But we're aging. And also, the time is approaching that we have to look forward when those people who had first-hand knowledge and experience of Srila Prabhupada are no longer on the planet. So how do we keep Srila Prabhupada's presence among us alive? So we have an initiative called Srila Prabhupada's Position, a group of devotees who are working on specific ways of concretely doing things to make Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya of ISKCON clear, philosophically, his role in every devotee's life, and various programs to increase in a systematic way throughout the movement not only consciousness of Prabhupada, but to instill a sense of a relationship with Prabhupada in all devotees. I'm in that particular group, so I know something more about it. So we made these groups in Italy, and then for our 3 days, we worked in these different groups. All the GBC members belong to different groups. Another group has to do with the GBC itself, and especially bringing together team building and learning how to work together cohesively, coherently, and effectively as a group. Part of the thing that we really need to do is to make the GBC as a group a very potent and highly respected body. We feel that our experience is that individual GBC members have a great deal of respect and esteem for the most part within the movement, but the GBC body as a whole does not enjoy such esteem. And so we are working to rectify that by the development and formation of the GBC body as a unit. So that's another group. A third thing that we have working on is a constitution for ISKCON. There's long been a felt need that ISKCON should have a constitution, and so we have a constitution initiative in progress, and that group met also. We had another group that is concerned with an issue which we call parallel lines of authority. This is something of a problem for us, where we have one line of authority that goes something like GBC, body, sometimes regional governing bodies, individual regional zonal GBCs, temple presidents, and so on down the line. And then we have this other group of people called gurus. And we want to solve problems of these two people meshing together and forming a single unified line of authority. What are the other two? Yeah, the preaching initiative. Yeah. Thinking how more effectively and in different circumstances, in different venues, and among different kinds of people to preach Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we were successful in the 70s in preaching in one way. Now times have changed. We have to be flexible and adopt. And we have to have all varieties of countries and people, and yet we have to have a consistent message at the same time. Is the preaching initiative? Succession. This involves. Yeah, this is particularly with the GBC. I've mentioned the graying of the GBC. So we're especially concerned now to start bringing in younger people onto the GBC body so that they have sufficient time to get trained, and so we can all, at the right point, gracefully retire. And the last one was, that's it. Those are the groups. So working in our group, I was very encouraged by the progress we made. We are having another meeting later on this year, outside of the usual annual general meeting. It's going to be, I think it's in June, in New Vrindavan, that the GBC will again get together for 5 days, with one medial day in the middle for spiritual retreat, and 4 days for continuing strategic planning along these lines. So this is an ongoing effort, and I think very soon you will see results. We will deliver to you and to the movement achievable things that we have achieved. Now I'm reporting to them. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Arinder Surprabhu. Also, I'll just tell about the retreat day that we had as I'm introducing the different members. Another thing that we did, microphone gone now. Another thing that we did again, just to be out, do something outside the normal meeting environment, is we had a little debate. Not a very serious debate, not one of those heavy debates, but a very serious subject. It was about prasadam. And it was about how to serve prasadam, what sort of prasadam to serve, how to sit when you're eating prasadam, whether to do it the traditional Vedic style, or whether to do it in a more contemporary way, like a buffet style with pizza, as opposed to the Vedic style with rice dal and chapatis. And I just have to relate one line that one of the debaters used. He was debating for the Western style, for the contemporary style of prasadam, and he said that a pizza is nothing more than a self-realized chapati. He just... Oh, was he? I see. Okay. I was just going to say, you can guess that that particular member was Italian. Okay. So now I would like to... By the way, another nice thing that we did at the retreat day was we heard different pastimes, different leelas being presented, and particularly about the Jagannath Mandir and the special mercy or the special boons that Lord Jagannath grants his sincere devotees. And Jayapataka Maharaj related a very nice pastime about Jagadish Ganguly, and now I'd like Maharaj to come up and say a few words about another thing that we... item that we discussed at our meeting this year, and that of course is the temple of the Vedic planetarium here in Mayapur. So I'd like to introduce Jayapataka Maharaj. Jayapataka Maharaj, yay! Oh, now you have to go around, Maharaj, huh? I know that none of you know Jayapataka Maharaj here. I know that he's not very well known, but he plans to spend a little bit more time here from now on, so you'll probably get to know him a little bit better, you know?
Your Lordships, you've been waiting a long time for your temple. And many of your devotees have been asking what's happening with the big temple. So this is an issue. We have a Sri Mayapur Development Committee, Project Development Committee, SMPDC, which was asked to research the feasibility of building a temple on ISKCON land. Before there was a trust that had offered to give their land or use their land for the building of the temple, but then that trust got into some land difficulties. But ISKCON doesn't have the same problem. So Amrish Prabhu and a team of devotees did intensive research and found that on our existing land there was room enough to be able to build a 300-foot temple, a Vedic planetarium like Prabhupada wanted. That it would have the different dhams, Devi Dham, Mahesh Dham, Hari Dham, Golok Dham, would have a big chandelier with all the planets and constellations rotating just like we see in the sky, only going a little bit faster. And like this, what else? So many other things like the gardens and Darshingadev and Panchatattva, and your Lordships would all move there. So the GBC body voted to give their blessings to go forward this new plan, pending if we get all legal clearance. So far now, one of the senior lawyers in Calcutta given us very senior, a very favorable recommendation. We'll check a little more. So simultaneously we're seeing how we can further develop Mayapur. There's different obstacles, but we're trying to develop everything for your pleasure, and so that all the devotees can come and live here. We have about 1,000 devotees living in Mayapur now, and we know that Prabhupada wanted us 25,000. This is basically the private. Right now, we're going into the more detailed planning of the temple and the facilities. So that's what we're doing right now with the big temple, and we hope that all the devotees will be encouraged. Now there's also opportunity going to come up for service. If someone would like to serve in the next year or two, we'll be able to engage many of your devotees, all of you who are ones, to get permission from your presidents and come and do some seva in Mayapur. We also in Mayapur have, for this year, made a Mayapur community sevaks for all the Grihastha community. They have also formed a council to help the devotees to move here and integrate and find service and resolve the Grihastha problems. Of course, for the brahmacharis, we have a separate brahmachari council. They have different problems for the different communities. And we have here schools. We have many different activities, festivals, preaching programs. So we hope that the community can grow side by side while the temple comes up. They said the temple could feasibly be built in 5 or 6 years once we start. And move your lordships to your new home. Please bless us that we can achieve this dream of Srila Prabhupada, this special dream of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, to have a very special temple. We're spreading the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Jayapataka Maharaj ki jai. Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite a devotee who's worked very, very hard over the last number of years. As you probably know, we had a little bit of a problem, if you want, for want of a better word, due to some of our past history related to the Gurukulas, and as a consequence of that, we had to raise a considerable amount of Lakshmi. And initially, it seemed like an unachievable target or an unachievable goal. But due to the determination, particularly of a core group of GBC members, who then inspired the rest of the GBC body, somehow or other, it looks like we're going to achieve that goal. But for more details, I would like to welcome Badri Narayan Prabhu. Badri Narayan Prabhu ki jai.
Jai Shri Radha Madhava. Well, when the Pandavas were banished to the forest, Bhishmadev and others were weeping. They could not understand why. And Prabhupada said they were being hunted practically like forest animals, dodging here, dodging there, hiding somewhere, being discovered, having to leave. But as a result of that movement here and there, they made different alliances with different kings. Different members of the Pandavas got different astras, different weapons from the Devas. And Prabhupada said that apparent travail or turmoil was simply preparing them for success at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Krishna moves in ways we cannot always understand. It is a fact that mistakes were made, serious mistakes were made in our Gurukulas. And many young, widows, Brahmins, children, cows, they're under our protection. And if we fail in that, there's an obligation, there's a reaction. I remember Radhanath Maharaj saying that until we clear this obligation, it will lay as a weight upon our society. So we resolved, originally it was, well, it's a long story, but the short version is finally it was $9.5 million. Anybody got a checkbook out there? Want to write us a check? 9.5? We'll take it now. It appeared to be insurmountable. But when we began to think about it, how to do it, we had no choice. One by one, different devotees came forward. Bhakti Charu Maharaj vowed $1 million towards this. Radhanath Maharaj, via an anonymous source, but inspired by Radhanath Maharaj, over $500,000. From India alone, over 3 years, $500,000 each year, 3 years, $1.5 million. The point I'm making, I don't want to burden you with numbers. You know, we put you to sleep. Imagine what it does to us. Something going on? So, we are now at the point that we've already paid $2.5 million of this. Devotees around the world, temples, GBCs, individual gurus, all over the world, devotees that had nothing to do with this, no individual responsibility, are coming forward. Frankly, I am proud to be a member of ISKCON, to see how devotees around the world are coming together. Prabhupada gave the example of an individual stick can be broken very easily, put them in a bundle and they can't be broken. So the simple fact is, what we thought was impossible, Krishna's actually empowering us to do. And the other thing is, it's forcing us to work together and forcing to, you know, because we tend to think of our local projects, our local concerns naturally. But Prabhupada said we should think globally, act locally. So it's actually a fact that devotees around the world are thinking how to do something globally of an immense scale. It makes us think that we can raise the money to build this temple. When this is over, once we get used to raising this kind of money, which huge amounts of money for ISKCON, which we are raising, we're thinking, maybe we put it all into an education system. Maybe we build the Mayapur temple. There's so many things that can be done. So what appeared to be a burden is actually coming out to be Krishna's mercy. So up to the minute, that's the news. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Jai Radha.
Thank you, Bhadinarayan Prabhu. Yes, and as I was saying, that one argument at the debate, which I personally thought was a clinching line to win the debate, just to remind you that a pizza is none different than a self-reliant chapati, we had to get a response from the other side. And then one debate, I think it was Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj, gave the example that before Srila Prabhupada left for the West, he was advised by some of his contemporaries that Swamiji, you will have to, if you want to be effective in the West, you will have to learn to eat with a knife and a fork. To which Prabhupada replied, and I'm ad-libbing a little bit, that everyone in the West can already eat with a knife and a fork. I'm going to teach them how to eat with their fingers. Jai! And apparently that was a big success for Srila Prabhupada, but he was seen as a, because there were already Swamis in New York City in the 60s, but they were like uptown Swamis, and they were dressed in suits and ties, and they ate with knives and forks. But Prabhupada, he came, and he was like a downtown Swami. He came in his traditional style, and he kept the whole, brought the whole Vedic culture with him. Okay, so now I'd like a big welcome for our incoming chairman. Well, actually, he is already now the GBC chairman for 2007, right up to next Gorpurnim. So he has the onerous task of leading the International Society for Krishna Consciousness for the next 12 months. So a big welcome for His Holiness Manu Swami. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Dear Radha Madhava and Asasakis, I pray for your mercy. As our exalted devotees have described, we've done some new things in our GBC meetings. We're trying to create a goal, a long-term goal for the society. That's very necessary. Of course, as we know, we have several goals. One is that we have to become Krishna conscious. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that Name Ruchi is one of the principles, that is, we develop a taste for the holy name. And as, of course, Prabhupada has said, chant Hare Krishna. So we have to develop our Krishna consciousness by taking shelter of the holy name. That's for us. And the other principle is Jive Doya, that is giving the mercy to all the people of this world. That means outside of ourselves. And as Prabhupada said, we should preach Krishna consciousness everywhere, we should distribute books and uplift the whole world. So we have two duties. We have our own duty to ourselves, that is to become Krishna conscious by chanting Hare Krishna. And then we have the other duty to spread Krishna consciousness to all other people. When we spread consciousness to Krishna consciousness to other people, there's two factors. There is the devotee community, that is ISKCON, and then there's the outside people, the rest of the world. So Jiva means we have to interact with the other Vaishnavas at ISKCON, and that requires some organization. So we have ISKCON to help organize the devotees and keep them harmonious within one society. So that is one purpose we have to fulfill. And of course, as we see, we always have difficulties. There are disagreements. There are philosophically or managerially or financially, many types of problems are there. And we have to try to work all those things out. And then we have the other problem of what is the effective way of spreading Krishna consciousness to the rest of the world. And of course, society is not static. It is very dynamic. It's always changing. Every year, many things are happening, and society every 10 years is very different from what it was previously. So we have to adapt our preaching strategies to the people outside. And of course, inside the society also, the structure is also changing. Just as at the beginning of our society, we had all brahmacharis. Then gradually the grihastas developed. Then in another movement, the grihastas moved out of the temples, and the grihastas were working outside. So we have all sorts of social changes within ISKCON also. So therefore, we have to really think carefully in developing the ISKCON structure for the, let's say, the members of ISKCON, and also how ISKCON can preach to the public. And at the same time, we have to take care of our own Krishna consciousness. So we have to balance all of these things. So that's because it is dynamic. Our society is changing, and the society outside is changing. And therefore, we have to think very carefully how to carry out these goals. So that requires great effort and creativity. And as I witnessed this year in the GBC meetings, when very intelligent devotees get together, they can come up with very surprising and very beautiful conclusions to all of their work. So I just pray to Radha Madhava and Panchatattva, Panchasakis, and Nrsimhadev and Prahlad that we can go on in this process in the GBC to be creative, to think of the society and to think of the public at large, and create a very wonderful plan to spread Krishna consciousness to the world and develop Krishna consciousness within ISKCON. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Marge. I don't think that Marge, after giving that little talk, can say that he's not going into his service for the next year with his eyes wide open. He seems to outline all the potential difficulties that he faces. And I'm sure with all of your support and the support of his GBC godbrothers that he will have a successful year. Now I'd like to invite His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj to say a few words about this year's meetings and anything else that he would like to convey. As with many other GBC members, Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj was the chairman just a few years ago, I think 3 years ago. So he knows what Bhanu Maharaj will be looking forward to. Thank you, Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj ki.
Om Jnana-Timirandasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshur-Milatam-Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Well, we're very fortunate this year. Well, we're very fortunate every year because the chairman, other than myself, the chairman every year is a really outstanding devotee who can make and always does make a wonderful contribution as the leader of the GBC body, and in that sense occupying a very important leading role in Srila Prabhupada's movement. So this year we have His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj, who is very great devotee, very great devotional scholar. Perhaps you've seen the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has just been translated by him. It's just been published. It's available here in Mayapur right now. Complete Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu with commentaries. So beautifully presented. So with leadership like this, then this Krishna consciousness movement will certainly spread and develop very dynamically. When Maharaj was speaking a few minutes ago, I was remembering one part of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, as Srila Prabhupada has presented it. There is the elaboration there. It's, I think, in the 13th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, on the 5 very special devotional processes. As Lord Chaitanya said, Sadhu Sangha Nana Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan Mathurava Srimurtiya Shradaya Sevan. 5 very special processes which are particularly powerful to associate with the devotees, to chant the holy names, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to reside in a holy place, and to serve the deity with great reverence and attention. So Lord Chaitanya said that these processes are so powerful, so amazing, that if you perform just one of them, even without faith, but as long as you don't commit offenses, then just one of them can bring you to the level of bhava. Immediately, it is possible. And I was thinking, particularly as Maharaj was speaking, I was thinking about these processes, and particularly the process of deity worship, the worship of Shri Radha Madhava and Panchatattva, and all the deities in Prabhupada's temples around the world, that Srila Rupa Goswami, when he glorifies the process of deity worship in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he does so in a very extraordinary way, in that he apparently criticizes the activity like that. He's composed a verse in which he is speaking like he's a materialistic person, some big materialist who's speaking to his little materialist friend. And so that big materialist is warning his little materialistic friend. He says, "My dear foolish friend, if you want to remain attached to family, friendship and love and so on, all these things in material existence, foundational principles in material existence." So that materialist says, "My dear foolish friend, if you want to remain attached to these things, then don't go to see Radha Govinda on the banks of the Yamuna at Keshigat. Don't go there. It's very dangerous, because if you see Radha Govinda, then that will be the end of your attachment to material existence, and that's very bad." He's speaking like a materialist. So in our cases here right now, if we want to remain attached to our material existence, we should not look at Radha Madhava. Be careful. Don't look. Because I think for all of you it is too late. It's too late already. But the thing that I was thinking about, or the final point of what I was thinking about, is that in this Krishna consciousness movement which Srila Prabhupada has given us and given the world, there's so many wonderful things, like the worship of the deities, chanting of the holy names, association with the devotees, and a whole world of Krishna consciousness. And if this movement
can develop dynamically through very good leadership, then Krishna consciousness will touch the hearts of so many people. Already it's touched our hearts, but it can touch the hearts of the whole world ultimately. So if we all work together under the good leadership of the governing body of ISKCON, under the good leadership of His Holiness Banu Swami Maharaj, then the whole world can be transformed, and that is what this movement is for. Not just so we can get free from our anxieties and become happier, although that's there. But Prabhupada wanted this movement to change the world. So this is what the governing body commission is there for. And the leadership of the governing body commission is there for to spearhead this movement as it penetrates deeper and deeper into the materialistic society and ultimately change the whole world, so that after a few years the whole world can come here to Mayapur for Gorpanima, surrender at the lotus feet of Shishi Radha Madhava and Panchatattva, and then the whole world can become happy and everyone can go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj ki. Following on from Maharaj's theme, as well as not taking the darshan of Shishi Radha Madhava, I must warn you not to participate in the kirtan in 5 minutes' time in the Panchatattva temple room led by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. Because if you participate in that kirtan, you're in even more trouble in relation to your material desires. Okay, so now we'll have our last speaker this evening, one of our senior most members on the GBC body, often referred to as the Narada Muni of ISKCON, always traveling and preaching and requiring very, very little. His Holiness Kavi Chandra Maharaj. Kavi Chandra Maharaj ki!
So it's hard to follow the last one, and we don't want to keep anybody away from the upcoming kirtan. But we also have here the gopis, and we hear a lot about the mood of the gopis. And the gopis' mood is that they'll do anything Krishna wants. Famous stories when Krishna had a headache and they needed dust, he wanted dust from the feet of the devotee. And no one would give the dust. They all thought that would be sinful to put their feet on Krishna's head. But the gopis said, we don't care, we'll go to hell, we don't care what happens as long as Krishna's happy. So I've actually seen on the GBC that the members are like that. There's so many headaches that they keep trying. We're trying to alleviate different problems. But the main way to alleviate the problems, of course, is by kirtan, which we're going to have lots of from tonight onward. We've had a lot of help this year. Gopal Bhatta Prabhu, who's a very old godbrother, I used to go on book distribution with him back in 1973 or something. And he's become a very successful businessman, and he's giving great help in the GBC body. He's very, very generous with his valuable time, where he could be doing many other things in his business, and pushing us to do more, like we want to do. And we also get a lot of help from what we call the deputies. Those are the nice group of temple presidents and regional secretaries from all over the world that for many years have been helping us get prepared, do a lot of the background work, preparatory work, and to simplify things so that we can move ahead. And also they're getting experience so they can come up and take over these positions, because our movement is growing so much if we travel a lot, we see the number of sannyasis is not growing anywhere near the rate of the number of families and the number of Namhata groups and new temples, right? So we're hoping we get more people to move and travel and do whatever you can. And if you haven't seen it, the model of the new temple is right over there. It's a scale model, believe it or not, exactly how it will look. And Sadhguru Prabhu told me that he's pushing a marathon he can start in November, the building. So we'll see something happening next year. So thank you very much. We invite everyone to stay for the kirtan and absorb yourself in the holy name. That's our whole process. That's what the gopis are doing. That's what Radharani, she doesn't want to hear anything except Krishna's name. So for the pleasure of Radharani, we chant Krishna. Okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Happy Ganga Maharaj Ki! So thank you all very much. All that's left for me to say... Okay. All that's left for me to say really is the GBC body are your servants, and if you can support us as best you can and help us as best you can to fulfill the mission of Srila Prabhupada, then I'm sure that we will be successful. I think Jayapataka Maharaj is going to say a few closing words, and after he's finished, remember, if you all want to see your families again, or want to see your bank accounts again, or want to have any connection with your material life, you will all go that way as soon as Jayapataka Maharaj is finished, and you will leave Radhanath Maharaj all on his own chanting Hare Krishna. Thank you very much indeed. His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj Ki!
Your Lordships, we also want to thank our outgoing President, Chairman of the GBC, His Holiness Bhakti Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He was very patiently and with a lot of focus and concentration seeing how to steer through the meetings. And every day they were updating the agenda a little bit. So he was really missing. We were appreciating how much that he was serving. And even he volunteered, we elected him as the vice chairman, just to keep the continuity of our new strategic planning initiative. Just like to mention to your Lordships that congregational development is expanding around the world. More Bhakti Vriksha groups, Namhata groups, counselor groups, interactive Sankirtan groups, and different Krishna conscious families. So this way we want to, Prabhupada also gave instructions that people come to our temple and get inspired to practice Krishna consciousness in the temple mode in their home. So we need your blessings that this will go on expanding more and more all over the world. So this completes our GBC report to the deities. Normally what we would have, because this is the evening and our students go to sleep early, otherwise they do what they call mantra puspa for your Lordship's pleasure. And everyone at that time would offer their prayers. We ask our kirtan group to do a soft kirtan, so that everyone, before the deities go back on their altar, see they come forward. They come forward to hear you. They're especially in the hearing mode. So this is an opportunity for all the devotees and all the individual GBCs and ministers and Prabhus and Vaishnavis to give your personal report to Radha Madhav, what you've done last year, what you're going to do, what you'd like to do, what you'd like to offer the next year. And while that's going on, we can have a little soft kirtan, and that'll then switch over to the kirtan with Radhanath Swami. So we'd like to thank you for coming and hearing our report, offered for your pleasure, Radhamada Vastasaki, Panchatattva, Prahlad Narsingha, Giriraj, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, Pray again and again for your blessings. Forgive us if there was any offense in our offering of this report to you. We pray for your mercy again and again and fall at your feet. Hare Krishna.
One second, sorry, Guru. As ever, imperfect senses have gotten the better of me. And one little bit of news that I forgot to mention. This year there were 2 new members were added to the GBC body. His Grace Chandrasekhar Prabhu, who preaches in China, and His Grace Kanteya Prabhu, who is part of the congregational ministry. So they've been added actually as GBC members. And also, candidates for to be full GBCs. And also, we have one new sannyasi who will be added to the rank of ISKCON sannyasis this year. A very, very wonderful Vaishnava, I'm sure many of you know him. His Grace Janananda Prabhu. Janananda Prabhu ki Haribo.
Kirtan, okay, everyone can stand up. With your folded hands, you can offer your report to the deities. You see, we can only hear one person at a time, but Krishna is unlimited. He's Ananta. He can hear all of your offerings, and all of your offerings, and all of your prayers. So the system, you say something glorifying the Lord, give your report, ask for blessings at the end. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare श्री राधा माधव की जय, आदिनाथ कृष्ण भगवान की जय, इस्कॉन GBC वृंदा की, गुरु वृंदा की, भक्त वृंदा की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन